Thunderbolts isn't just a Marvel team up, it's a setup for everything that's coming next. Join us today as we break down and give our reviews over Thunderbolts and talk about our theories of where it's all heading to. So, stop. You want to tell us, everybody, what to look out for?
Yes, so this is a spoil review. So if you have not watched Thunderbolts, or if you just don't care, that's okay too. But if you don't want to get spoiled about what happens in this fantastic, amazing movie, please stop
Mm,
and go and see it, and then come back, and we would love to hear what you think. But
yes.
until then, or if you just want to watch it anyway, you're totally welcome to.
Yeah.
Welcome to our Thunderbolts review. Welcome to the Thunderdome. Um,
Now, Tina Turner, here
uh,
she comes.
oh my God. Oh
Oh,
God. All right, but this movie, oh my God, like
beautiful. Beautiful.
right off the bat, absolutely emotionally just like great. It was everything that I wanted it to be. It was emotionally and I'm gonna just keep using the word emotion because the amount of emotion that I felt in this movie is astronomical. Was something
Oh,
I want to say.
it's beautiful. I loved it. I will say, hang on to the end, toward the end, before we like as we kind of get through talking up through this movie, like our viewpoints, our reviews on it, and before we jump into the post credit scene, I will give my only complaint about this movie, and then it's only one, but I'm not going to say it until we go through it. So
Is it the same one from the episode where you already talked about it from the
yeah,
episode that we
yeah.
did earlier on Sunday?
But in
Okay.
case somebody didn't hear that, this they're going to find out at the end.
First of all, what are you doing? Go watch our shit. Second of all,
Right,
okay, still listen and wait until the end.
right. Oh man. So yeah, so at least we know where this is in the timeline. Takes place a few months after Brave New World. We get
Right,
to see Scaffolding doing repair on the monument that Thaddeus Ross screwed up while he was the Red Hulk.
right. And then we also heard during the Val impeachment of De Fontaine, and not just Fontaine, Miss
Right.
Fontaine. Like it's not the Department of Fence, it's Defense.
She's so
Um,
sassy.
so sassy. But she talked about it while she was doing her impeachment trial. That she was just like, we're here because we don't
Mm,
want to have exactly what happened before. So the turnarounds and the quick payoffs of Marvel are coming because she was talking about how, you know, um our last president turned into the Red Hulk.
yeah.
And
Nearly destroyed the
so
city.
yeah, and then we saw the scaffolding, like you said, of the Washington Monument and of the White House as well, because it was a little bit that needed to get a little bit of a facelift.
Mm,
So my thing that I want to say right now is that like if you are waiting to see Marvel movies, and you don't think that the payoff is as quick, because before that's what we had, is that we didn't really have this quick payoff of we had
mm,
Iron Man 1 and 2 before we even had the first Avengers movie, right?
mhm.
But now they are quick to pick up off of what just happened,
Yeah,
like we saw in Thunderbolts.
yeah.
Um, that but before we even talk about more about this movie, I want to talk about the fact that we finally got the Marvel classic-ish logo and it turned black. Dude,
Thank God.
how sick was that?
I was worried about getting that too since we didn't get that in Brave New World. I was like, "Oh my god." Like I'm wondering what this is going to be like cuz I'm not going to lie. That's one of my favorite parts. Like that's something I hope they alter them throughout the years compared to what the movie is, but we always
Yeah.
get that logo with the comic book, pages in it. Or
Mhm.
comic book scenes in the letter. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm so glad that they kept that. But yeah, that was pretty sick. Like the noise
It
and
was
everything silent.
Yeah, and then the noise was silent, yes, and
Mhm.
something that I didn't realize because I've only seen it once, but I'm so going to go see this again. But something that I didn't notice was that New Rockstars, who had seen it 4 times already, Eric Voss, he had said that they used only comics for Sentry
Yeah,
in
they
that
did.
opening sequence, and I was just
Mhm.
like, I knew
And
it was different, and I just couldn't put my finger on why. And I'm
yeah.
so glad that we have other nerd people out there that help us out. I love that.
Yeah, so I did before this came out. I haven't read them all, obviously, but I did start reading Century comics, and literally, like I started noticing that, and it was all variations because, like, I think the very first Century comic didn't come out till the year 2000, but you
Mm,
have just from 2000 to now, you have so many different stories of him and so many different like artist drawings because you have him with short hair, some with longer hair.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was really cool. It was I kind of expected it to be more of like a mixture between the characters and maybe them from the comic books. I did not expect it to be nothing but Sentry. But
Mhm.
Kevin Feige, I think it's Kevin Feige, or yeah, I think so. He's the one that said that Doomsday is going to be a huge player in Avengers Doomsday. Like his PowerPoint and
Oh, like Doomsday, like like Victor Von Doom is going to be a huge thing in Doomsday, or?
is going to be a big part in Avengers Doomsday.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
Yeah, he's going to be a key. He's going to be a key role in Avengers Doomsday. So
okay.
it was him or the director of Thunderbolts that said that in an interview this
Yeah,
past week.
yeah. So like after we saw like Val going through her impeachment trial, and they were talking about Oxcorp, and they're
Yes,
like, there's like some questionable things happening, and she's just like, oh no, nothing's questionable is happening. And so the guy that was what was it, Commissioner Gary, or
the
Senator
congressman.
Gray, or yeah, the
Yeah,
congressman that was sitting up there.
yeah. I can't think of what his name is, but he's actually going to be in Superman for the Daily Bugle or Daily
Yeah,
Planet.
and he's actually like a really well-known actor.
Yeah.
Because I saw him and I was like, dude, I've seen him in so many other things, and I can't think
Oh
of the one
yeah.
thing that I've seen him in right now.
Yeah, so he was in Jack Ryan with John Krasinski.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, that's what
Mhm.
it is.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Because I know I've seen him before with a Marvel person, and there
Yeah.
it is. Because I was like, I thought he was in a Marvel movie.
Wh
No,
what
okay.
was really
Anyway,
cool about the Oscorp thing, when I first heard
Mm,
them say Oscorp, I turned around to Wyatt, I was like, "Did they say Oscorp?" Like, I thought they said Oscorp,
yeah,
and it sounds so similar, but then finally you see it, it's not that, and I'm like, "Hmm," I wondered if since we don't have an Oscorp, because, when we seen Spider-Man: No Way Home, Osborn's like, "There's not an Oscorp here, there is no Osborn here." So,
yeah,
like, we know 616 doesn't have that. Like, a lot of
yeah,
people want them. If it has, they've definitely not shown us, but I feel like they're telling us that it wasn't. So this is almost like a replacement, I feel like, for that. But
yeah.
yeah,
I
it
want to say
definitely
it's
jerked
this
my head real quick.
universe's Oscorp.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, especially because of like there's like the head in there kind of like doing some shady things, but
Oh
it's not
yeah.
like
Oh
super
yeah.
shady. Like it feels like
Definitely
they're
some
doing,
Oscorp vibe stuff.
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Like they're doing things to benefit their shareholders and what they think is the best for the
Hmm.
world, and the world's like, dude, you're fucking up. Like what are you
Yeah.
what are you doing? But like, so after that scene of like Val saying, "Oh, absolutely, you can go into looking into my like financials or whatever," you see her say shit, and it immediately cuts to like her walking in the warehouse and trying to clear it out, because she doesn't want to get like caught up
Yeah.
in things that are
Moving
happening.
things very quickly.
Oh yes, absolutely. Kind of the similar thing as to when Iron Man was moving out of his stuff to put it into the tower. It was very fast when he was talking
Mhm.
to Tom Holland. That's when that happened, right?
Was
Like he was talking to
that's when
Happy.
isn't that when he sold Avengers Tower and they were relocating?
Oh, it was the other way around. It was
Yeah,
moving out of the Avengers Tower to go to the
I
new
think so,
building.
yeah, because that was Stark
Okay.
Tower, then after the Battle of New York, it became Avengers Tower automatically, but then he sold it, and we've not known who bought it up until now, and, it was because
Oh,
Val bought it is why.
there we
Yeah,
go.
but yeah,
Yeah.
they're moving stuff out of it pretty quick, but Val was doing it because she was dirty as shit.
Yeah, she was like, we need to get this stuff gone now. Um, so yeah, that was really cool. To kind of like see them do that. It was kind of like I felt like
Yeah.
there was a lot of different nods to different movies uh
Oh,
in
yeah.
this film, at least of like what I saw of like what it reminded me of.
Mhm.
So that was like one of them. And then another one was when you got to see Yelena fighting in the hallway.
Yes,
It
that's on my
reminded
list too.
me it reminded me a lot of Black Widow in Iron Man 1 fighting down that
Mhm,
hallway. Now, here you have a lot more shadow work because of the void that we'll talk
mhm.
about in a bit, but uh,
Yeah, because she
I
was in
thought it
a
was
bright,
absolutely awesome.
yeah, because
Yeah.
ScarJo was in a bright white one, and now she's, like, in a complete opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, and isn't that cool that like if you even just think about the fact that, cool, maybe they really did want you to think about that other scene, but the fact
Mm,
that ScarJo, who was supposed to be a hero at the time, working for Shield because she had that blue
right.
uniform on, she was in a fully lit room because she's on the good side, and then
Mm,
you have Yelena, who's kind of doing some shady shit
yeah.
for Val, who's in a completely kind of dark room.
But she
I
saved the
thought that was
guinea
cool.
pig, you know.
Yeah, at
There's
the
a
end
little
of that, she
brightness
did.
in
She
there.
did. Yeah.
But all I could think
Um.
like when I seen that was like, man, imagine her and Charlie Cox together doing a hallway fight scene. That'd be sick. Because that's what he's most famous for is his hallway fight scene as well that people love
Yeah.
from that Netflix series.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was
Um.
great. Man, that yeah, I don't know. This whole movie was just freaking phenomenal, and I like how they all got sent to kind of like they were the last piece of her dirty work to make disappear, and
Yeah.
I can't remember like exactly all the details, but speaking of new rock stars, I was watching it and like how she strategically placed which one to go after who because their power set and how it would be well balanced out or whatever. And it just made
Yeah.
sense. I like that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
That is pretty slick.
Something I would have never thought about.
Yeah, but man,
But while they were in there, that's when they found Bob and they were trying to,
yeah,
escape with Bob. And then you get the scene where they're all like looking out and they see all the agents out there and they're like, well, we gotta go a different
yes,
way, guys. Like, this ain't it.
yeah.
And right before that scene is when you see Void's eyes do the thing, or Bob's eyes do the Void thing,
I
where they do
love the
the
way they
little.
yeah, I love the way they glow and the way they look. They kind of remind me of Starlight's eyes from The Boys.
Oh, see, I
They had a
have
little
a
bit of that yellow
different.
glow.
Okay, so I have a different idea of when
Okay.
when it's just the void, and we'll talk about that when we get down to just like the void.
Uh-huh.
Like what my thought process of like what happened there, or
Okay.
like what they might have played off of, and New Rockstars kind of talked about it a little bit, but um, like I have a visual and I just want to like show you
You
because
talking about
it's.
like Bob when his eyes turn yellow?
Uh,
That's what I'm talking about. That reminds me of
yeah,
Starlight.
I know, and that's
Oh,
why
you talking
I'm
about
talking
the
about when he
boy's
goes
eyes?
full void.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep. The little
Um.
pinpoint white ones.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about
Um,
Taskmaster? One line. One
Bruh.
line.
I'm not here for you. And then that's it.
Oh, I'm seeing so many freaking hilarious things where like she's obviously, with them at a lot of these public outings where they're marketing it and showing up. And people now obviously know what happened and they're like, bro, why you're not even an Avenger? Like why are you even like with them going around publicizing you're in this movie? You get one line.
Oh
And,
man.
and the one line's
That's
I'm not here for you. It's not even an
yeah.
iconic line.
Yeah, no. And I mean like uh it so like she still did like her part in the movie, right? And um
Showing up and
I don't
dying. Yeah.
know. Yeah, yeah, but
What's bad
you
is like
you
when
never know.
we see her last in Black Widow, she like whispers in her ear, she's like, "You're free now." And then next time we see her on screen, like, boom, you're dead now. It's like, wow, okay, all right.
So, I don't know about you, but in this like fight scene that we had with all of them fighting each other,
Hmm.
Ghost really did remind me of like Nightcrawler, where she was like vamping, kind
Yeah,
of.
that was pretty sick. It had a heavy resemblance to like his fighting. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. That it's yeah, yeah. But then you got to see them like get all tied up because after they escaped with Bob, they got into
Oh,
the desert where you got to see the red limo.
Real quick when they were still back there with Bob, I
Yeah.
love how John like you could tell like he still also has that issue with the serum in him because like when he was like come after he's like he did that little jerk thing he did with his head and then he did that in Falcon and Winter Soldier. When he starts fighting and like the serum's pumping, you can like even pumping higher. He kind of gets these little twitches in his face. And
Mm.
he did that in this, but then also I love how like when he took his shield to bash that control board, he's like on your left. And I'm like, dude is still infatuated with Captain America and trying to repeat and say his lines.
Dude, I completely forgot about that line until you had just said it. I was like, oh fuck yeah, I forgot about that.
Also, another point while they were in there was like how Walker's just like being such a dick to him and to Bob, and they kept calling him Bobby,
Bob,
and then like one
Bobby.
thing, yeah, he was going back and forth between Bob and Bobby, but then Bobby was a little bit more. But it's like every time he said Bobby, like he would just kind of look at him and like ignore him or whatever. And like
Yeah,
later on, as we kind of get a little further on, we'll notice though, and I like love this callback that like his dad, when you see him in the void, was calling him Bobby, and so you could tell like being called that name just went right through him. It's why he like purposely was like ignoring Walker. So I was like, dang, like there's even like a little bit more tied in deeper stuff that if you I'll really be looking forward to catch. But yeah,
damn. I didn't even know that. I didn't even think
yeah,
about that. Damn, that's
yeah,
cool. That's so cool. Um, yeah, so they get into the desert and how cool was that when like
yes,
when Walker saw um fucking
yes,
Bucky for the first time was like Bucky.
yeah,
And
and
we got to hear Yelena say it during that interview, but I
yeah,
didn't actually think it was in the movie.
yeah.
Like I thought that they just did that and it was like a behind the scenes kind of like blooper reel type thing.
Mhm.
No, that shit was in the movie and I laughed. I busted out laughing because I was
Well,
like,
between I
that's
love
great.
how between Walker and Red Guardian, it's almost like Bucky's like a role model, almost like Captus for because like he says that, and the Red Guardian's like he's seeing in the rearview mirror, he's like he's just so cool, and I'm like my God, like you can tell he just like really puts him up on a pedestal when it wants to be him.
Yeah. Because
Oh
we got to see that like later on too, of like when they were in they were in the like truck together. He was like, "So what kind of serum did you get?"
oh yeah,
And he was just like, "Oh yeah, the normal kind, like I guess the Hydro one. Oh, Hydro,
Fonzie,
fancy.
yeah, and
So we are
it's
the
like we
same,
yeah,
but we are different, but still same."
and he's like well no, oh my
Yeah,
God. Yeah, the
yeah,
comedy was so well balanced in this too. Like Red Guardian, every time it showed him that he opened his mouth, it was gold. It was just gold. Like none of
yeah.
it was like too much. I'm like, God, this is a little overdone, or that line didn't really hit. Every
Mhm.
single thing hit with him, and
Yeah.
almost it was almost all laughs on top of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I felt like it was going to be kind of goofy like that, but
Hmm.
actually, just seeing it like in this scene when they were all tied up like talking to each other,
Yes.
like he was talking to them like, "Oh, you use the Thunderbolts name." Like, "Yes, you team up." Um and they're like, "No, it's not like that. We're not teaming up. We're just
Yes.
we need to get we need to find Bob." Because Bob turned out to be
Yes.
able to fly and they were like, "What the fuck?" Um
I love too how
Yeah.
they're like, why would we team up? Da-da. He's like, for the glory. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely loved how bad he just wanted to team up. He just wanted to put their own team of heroes together, and like it obviously toward the end, like I love that he got what he was like desired so hard and so longing for in his life. Because like we even see
Yeah.
in Black Widow where he's like constantly talking about him and Captain America, and it's just like man, this dude's finally all these years gets what he's been waiting for. It was wholesome. I loved it.
Yeah. So, eventually we get them in the tower, talking to
Mm,
Val.
yes.
Um, because they're like, I know that you have Sentry and like and she's like over here disrespecting all of them. This is where she calls, Red Guardian, Red Santa.
Yeah.
Um, which was pretty cool. And
Well,
then she was just doing it to antagonize them, right?
right, right. Because real quick, as they walk in and see her in Avengers Tower, it kind of pissed me off, but at the same time, I'm like, this is so clever. We see her behind the bar pouring a drink, almost shot for shot, the same scene we see Tony in Avengers Tower pouring a drink in the first Avengers movie. So
Oh,
like, yeah, because like when Loki comes in there,
yeah.
and then Tony's behind the bar pouring him a drink, and that's when the Hulk comes in. He's like, well, we've got a Hulk or whatever, and so yeah, like it was almost shot for shot Val doing the same thing Tony did at the bar in the same top level of the tower of the same building.
So. So now I wonder, okay, so like you can definitely tell that she was pouring an expensive bottle of champagne because it was Dom Perignon. Like you can see
Mhm.
the label like clear.
Yeah.
Clearly, like if you've ever seen that label, you know what that label is. Um, so now I'm like wondering what was Tony drinking? Unless it
I
was
don't
just like a whiskey or a bourbon.
Yeah, I wanna say it was, like, some kinda whiskey or something he did,
Okay.
but it was just
Yeah.
more of the idea, same building, same top levels, behind the bar deal, and then,
Okay.
I don't know, I thought there was so many cool callbacks throughout this movie,
Yeah.
in relations to other MCU projects. This is so fulfilling movie, such a fulfilling movie.
Yeah. Oh
Oh,
my God, yeah. And then so she was antagonizing them to just
mhm,
get someone to try to fight her, and then someone actually ends up doing it, and that's when we see Sentry for the first time coming down in this uniform, and then
yeah.
Ghost is like the first one to break the silence and was like, "Did you dye your hair?"
Yeah.
Like, did you bleach your hair? Like, and what's funny is because of the inner girl in me is like, because now I'm dyeing my hair, right? I got like purple hair now, so I'm like, when I first saw him like come down, I was like, his hair is different. What did he do to his hair? His hair is like almost blonde because it's like
Yeah,
dirty blonde, and I'm like,
mhm.
he
Oh,
did
yeah.
something, right? And then that's when I realized that like because she had said it, she pointed it out, and I was like, okay.
So yeah, what's crazy is how comic accurate he is. Like I know there's people out there kind of like back and forth about his suit. They're like, but
Mm,
like it's super comic accurate. Like
yeah.
probably one of the most close comic accurate things I've seen out of the MCU.
Yeah, because they called him the Guardian of Gold or some of
Hmm.
the Guardian in Gold or something like that, and apparently that came from the comics.
Okay.
It was on the cover of like one of the comics. So I thought that was pretty cool. That they did that because that was on the piece of paper that Yelena got from inside of Val's vault.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh huh. Where they
And
found
with all the
Robin.
different Sentry insignias before they chose the
And the
one that.
haircuts.
Yes. Yeah. Forgot about that. Yeah. But like I was like, okay, cool. All right. I mean, like I don't know anything about Sentry, so I just see this man coming down that's like in straight up gold, and I was like, okay, like that's interesting. So something I didn't really notice until I
Hmm.
was watching the new Rockstars video is that the fabric of his suit is the same fabric that they use in Homelander's suit.
Yeah, it looks very very
Because it
similar.
has the same like kind of hex clad, the hex clad
Hmm.
like pots and pans.
Yeah,
It's the same like look.
yeah,
It's like the how I make the correlation in my brain. And if you look at Homelander's suit, it looks like that same like hex clad
right.
like fabric like look to it. And then this one had the exact same. And I didn't really put two and two together until I was watching that new Rockstars video, and I was like, oh my god, that is
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
same.
Yeah, and the whole reason behind that is because this is supposed to be a slight replication of Superman, because this was like Marvel Superman, but with a twist in it with the mental health struggle he did, and he was an
Mm.
addict, and things, and that's hence why you also like you got the cape, you got the fitted suit, but then you got the big S on the belt instead of the S on the chest, and so yeah, so this is
Oh,
kind of
okay,
their
okay.
their twisted, darker version of Superman, but in Marvel.
Yeah, and I mean, like we had already kind of started to see up into this point, like when we see him come down as Sentry, we had seen, him and Yelena talking at the vault about what to do about that like deep darkness that you have inside of you. Like, what do you do? And
Yeah,
Yelena just kind of like joked and was like, "You just push away down, just keep
yeah.
pushing it down." But then anytime anybody touches his hand, like we had seen three people up, I think up until this point, like
Mhm.
touch his hand and have those dark memories. So you had Yelena with her being in the forest as a Black Widow. You saw Walker with his kid and him just kind of like scrolling
Mm.
through different ads or not ads, articles um about how he was meant to be Captain America and now he just
The
kind of
fall
like
of a
fucked it
hero.
away.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he had killed somebody. And then you got to see Val. You saw
Yeah.
Val's.
Yeah, I was shocked. I will say I did not I don't know why. It may be because she's just not like on the forefront of
Hmm.
characters you really think too deep about because
Yeah.
she's kind of, a shithead. So like but like
Everybody's a
when
shithead for a reason.
right, but like when we get that flashback, it's like, oh dang, we getting a little deeper in her story. And I did not expect that. And it kind of shows
Mhm.
back, I think, in Italy, where like she told some stranger where her and her father was, and then
I
she
don't
witnessed
know.
her father get killed.
Yeah, I don't know if so much that was like Italy or I mean the word Valentina, the name
Yeah,
Valentina is very Italian.
I think it was.
But
They look like they were Italian, spoke Italian. I could be wrong though.
I don't know. That could be me being ignorant about different languages. I don't know. I definitely do think it's Europe, like somewhere,
Hmm.
but in my mind, I'm like thinking like, okay, well, like what time might had this had been that like you have to be worried about where you're living and who you are.
Right.
Not so much like gangster, but like you had
Yeah, that would have took place like where that scene was probably like
Germany and
early
yeah.
70s, late 70s when that would have took
Okay,
place.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's supposed to be like 2027
Hmm.
in the time that they are now. Okay, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Um, but like so we got to see all that happen and then Sentry uh kind of like holds back and fights all of them off
Mhm.
inside of the Avengers Tower and they all
Yep.
leave because they realize they were like there's no point
Yeah,
in like,
that kinda threw
trying
me
to
off
reason.
too, seeing them all run and hunker in that elevator to escape. Like,
Yeah, that was I wasn't expecting it, but I think they also realized they're like, all right, like he's not
we're no
listening to
match.
us and he's also not trying to kill us, so like why what are we doing right now?
Yeah.
All right, let's like go regroup, let's go figure it out. And when that happened, that's when Val decided to try to talk to Sentry and say like cool, so now that like this is happening, it's time to like get you on press and like do this and
Mhm.
do that and have you be out there and showing everybody what you can do and I'll get you, what you need to do and whatever. And he's just like, I'm a superhero. Why would I listen to you?
Yeah, well,
And
also, she's like, "You need to go kill them," and because they
oh yeah,
threatened me, and
yeah.
then
And
and
he's like, they're
he's
not a
like,
threat.
"They're not a threat." She's like, "They threatened me." He's like, "Why would I listen to you?" And it's
Yeah.
like and she's like, "Oh, shit."
As soon as he said that, I got fucking chills because I was
Yeah,
like, "Oh shit, that
yeah.
ooh, that is so Homelander vibe right there. That is Homelander vibes. Like,
Yeah. That's that
I'm
void
stronger than
slightly
you."
creeping and taking over because like, oh, you could so tell. I like how they did the transition too of, like, how you knew it was Bob, and then how you could tell it was Bob, but a little bit of the void, and then it, eventually got to nothing but the void. I thought that was really well done.
Yeah. Because you could definitely tell right there that he wasn't his like happy-go-lucky
Yeah.
like self anymore. And you can kind of actually see that too when they were inside of um in the vault, like, is really where I noticed it, where like, the first time that I noticed it was, like, when Bob at first was just like, "I'm just Bob," like,
Yeah.
"I'm just, like, happy and I'm giddy and
Yeah.
I'm just Bob." But then at, like, that point when after the explosion happened and he, came out of there, is when you got to see that switch really was after he was talking to Walker, like, he had a different kind of, like, broodiness to him,
Yeah.
the kind of, like, the same where I would think that, like, the, Superman and Kent Clark thing
Oh, yeah.
names. I feel like that's gonna be kind of like the same how we're gonna see it in Superman. I feel like
Uh-huh.
is like what we just saw with Sentry or Bob or and the Void because there's Sentry would just be Bob.
Yeah, yeah. When I think too, that like when you're talking about where you can definitely see that change. I would say if I had to like throw a number on it, it's like you could tell maybe like it was like 10% creeping in because he still is like I should just stay here and stay behind, type
Yeah, I
thing,
should
like
like
and
turn
die.
myself in. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like you could tell like the more good was still overwhelming, but yeah, that was definitely the starting of the shift for sure.
Yeah. Like you
Also,
could
like, when
start
we
to see
get to
that.
see him full void, taking over him as Sentry, that was really, really good. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Them
Um
eyes are cold.
Yeah, so like
Chilling.
when you saw like him talking to Val and being like, "All right, like it's like I don't need to listen to you," and then they used the kill switch on him, and then he slowly
Yeah,
became darkness and became this. I was like, "Yo, that's absolutely insane."
yeah.
But I mean, it's also
Oh,
that
yeah,
like
because
mental
what
health aspect.
Yeah, what was crazy when she hit that kill switch, how you almost see is like the blood go in his eyes. And I was like, because you almost see like it was like a self detonation deal, and then
Mm,
oh, the visuals in this, the visuals throughout this whole thing were just so amazing, so great. And, like,
yeah.
you could really just tell, like, how they use so many practical things to CGI, and it just had a better feeling to it. I've seen some people say that where they use so much practical that when they did use CGI, they thought the CGI looked really bad, like when he was Sentry and fighting them and stuff. I didn't think it was that bad. I really
Mm-mm.
didn't. I didn't realize that they truly blew out upper level stories of glass windows of a building when
Oh
that
yeah,
yellow.
no, that looked absolutely real. Yeah, when
Yeah.
she was walking out with the guinea pig.
Yeah, that was a legit
Yeah.
thing they did. I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh," and it was oh, well, no, it wasn't the same building, but I think in the same vicinity. Like, the same day they did the building jump off, her jumping off the building, and the same day they
Yeah.
went to another building and blew those out. I was like, "Man, you know how fun on top of that, just how fun in real life that would have been filming that and doing those things?" Oh,
Yeah, I'm
oh,
adrenaline junkie, so I would absolutely
same.
love to go fall off of a building and know that I'm safe.
Right.
Because I have all the restraints and everything on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to do that. Uh, but like with him being the void, like you got to really see that like darkness overcome him, which is why we're talking about
Mm,
like the mental aspects of this movie and how it's like
yeah.
so just oh, amazing because like at what point do you ever see really a superhero deal with mental traumas?
Right.
Um and seeing the void like we talk about horror movies all the time, so I've talked about Lights Out
Mm,
before,
mhm.
but there's a Lights Out monster that has those same kind
Oh,
of like
shit.
needle point
Okay.
eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was what I wanted to talk about because I was like, I saw the void who had these eyes going
Yes.
into
Little beady
Lights Out.
eyes.
Yes,
Yeah,
the little
it's
beady
so much
eyes. I
similar.
was
Yes.
yeah. And I was just like because Lights Out itself is kind of like a dark like oh, I mean it's a horror movie, right? But
Mhm.
like if in horror movies if people just like stuck together like maybe people wouldn't die as often. I don't know.
Also, another thing that I love, I think it roughly take place is where they're out on the street and they start fighting because the Void
Yeah.
starts, doing his thing. And what's wild is, the part where Red Guardian has that little girl, and he, like,
Oh my
saves her,
god.
and I'm like, "Oh," he's like, he's bending over, talk to her, and, like, it's like a emotional moment, you're like, "Oh my god." He's feeling so good. He's feeling so good. He's
Yeah.
doing hero stuff, and then all of a sudden, bam, she's gone in the Void Shadow, and I ain't gonna lie, that is something I did not expect. That threw me back. It made me go, "Oh," out loud. I was like, "Oh," like, "Oh my goodness,"
We
like,
are not watching a happy-go-lucky movie.
no, 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 no.
We are
No,
watching something that
uh,
is dark.
but also in that fight, another thing that I love, which was kind of a callback, and it was a tie to Black Widow, Red Guardian, and Captain America, was when he threw Yelena to over there to save those people. Like I guess
Mhm.
they threw it kind of roughly threw her, bounced off or whatever. It's the same
Yeah.
thing in the first Avengers movie where Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow running the jumps, and he bumps her up and throws her in the air to catch
Yeah.
on to one of the Shatari. But I
Yeah.
was like, so she got to relive that same moment with her version of Cap. Oh, that was just so cool. Such a great callback. And also,
Yeah.
the second thing it reminded me of, actually, the first, the actual, I think what the callback was supposed to be was what we just went over, and that was my second thing. The first thing I thought of immediately, Colossus throwing Wolverine. That's like a super famous,
Oh
do in the
man,
movie and the
yeah.
comics. That's the first thing that went through my mind was that. But another great callback, and I love too, like when they all go together to like flip that concrete up, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, and then like everybody applauds, and
Mhm.
then like you can like just see the look on their face, like we've never had this before, and you could
Yeah.
tell it was almost like rewarding, and they were all feeling like, oh my god, I think this is our purpose. This is what we are
Is
supposed
this
to
what
do.
superheroes feel like?
Yeah, and they've all been fighting it, but Red Guardian is what he's wanted, and like he's just kind of like bursting the most. I think like
Mm.
yes. Oh, it's such a emotional movie. I
Yeah.
it's there's so
But
many
then
happy
as soon
moments, so
as
many what the
as
fuck
y-
moments.
yeah, as soon as everybody's like and like stops clapping is when
Mm,
the darkness takes over and people just immediately
yeah.
splat into the like the dark shadows, which is a crazy effect. I absolutely love that effect.
It is
Um,
very unique, and I love it. It works.
yeah. And then that's when Yelena kind of, I guess, like realized that she was the one that kind of talked to Bob at first about this darkness. So she was like, okay,
Mhm.
well, I need to go kind of confront Bob. I need to go help him. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna go into the darkness. So she goes and walks into the darkness, and then you see, her dealing with her inner demons, and you also see like Red Guardian just like distraught. And then that's
That
when
was
like,
emotional. Like when
yeah,
he lost it and they were holding him back.
yeah,
Cause like he just had this aha moment and he got to share it with
yeah,
his daughter, cause they still keep each other daughter and dad. And
yeah.
like and then it's just the movie moves so quick. But like
Yeah.
it flows well, but it's fast paced. And
Mhm.
like you're happy, don't expect to stay happy long.
It's a roller coaster, as all good
Yes.
movies really should be a roller coaster. It shouldn't
Yes.
be just like all up, one down, and it's
Right.
back up. Like that's
Yes.
it. No. I like the
Man.
twists and turns. So like, we got to see uh the rest of them with Red Guardian like figure out like, okay, well, she went in there because she knew that she could do it.
Mm,
Like, well, maybe she needs our help. And
right.
then they all like, we ended up seeing that they end up joining her, but
Mm,
before that they joined her, Yelena, was actually talking to Bob in the attic while he was talking, or he was like in one of his bad rooms where he uh heard his parents arguing and being like, abusive, his dad
abusive.
being
Yeah.
abusive downstairs. And he's like, don't worry. He was telling Yelena not to worry because like it's going to be over soon.
Mhm.
But like anytime that the Void, or Bob rather, and Yelena were together, and the two of them kind of like helped each other out, because like
Mhm.
Yelena said that like, I used to have this issue, but talking with you has helped me, and now I want to help you, and we're gonna
Right.
have that kind of yin and yang, push and pull type thing. It really did remind me of like the Incredible Hulk and
Okay. Yeah.
ScarJo.
Okay.
How like she's his like
Yeah. So
ground,
I'm so
right?
glad you said it reminded you of someone because it reminded me of someone too, ish, but it different. So I love how it was two different couples. I'm thinking Wanda
Ooh.
and Vision.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay, but you're thinking more like romance.
No, no, I think that eventually there could be a romance between them two, but I see both of them was struggling, and
Yeah.
Wanda and Vision had their own struggles, and especially Wanda, obviously. Because I seen a real quick, I seen a meme, or I say a meme, I guess it wasn't funny, it was sad, but it was a
Oh.
picture of the Avengers
Mhm.
and Wanda like on her knees when she's like in agony, yelling out, grieving, I think, from WandaVision and
Yeah.
it said that shoot, what did it say? It said what Sentry needed the Thunderbolts to be for him is what Wanda needed the Avengers to be for her, and they wouldn't. I was like, oh, that's deep. That is
That
deep,
hurt.
and that
That
is so
hurt.
true. That's so true.
Oh man.
That like if the Avengers would have been to Wanda like the Thunderbolts were to Sentry, it'd been completely
Mhm.
maybe a different turnout.
That's
It's
true. And maybe in another universe they were.
yeah. Oh, I got goosebumps just saying that. Like I'm not even
Yeah.
lying. Like
Actually, I know legitimately I do too. So that's cool.
yeah, it was deep. I think I screenshot it. I'll have to send it to you later, but, like,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
also when they're in that room together and you hear his parents fighting and kinda his dad being abusive, you hear, his mom tell his dad, I think, like, "You always make things worse." And that's
Yeah.
also a call back to when they're going up the elevator shaft, and Bob actually
Yeah.
murmurs to himself, he's like, "Always making things worse." And it's like,
Yeah, because
"Oh,
he was about to
god."
sneeze, and
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But needless to say, like Bob was the one that got them out of that, because he's like, I have an idea. And
Yeah.
that's how they got out of the elevator shaft, was because he had the idea of,
Yeah.
no, needless to say, he could fly. So we found out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if at that point in time if he knew. But while they were in this like dark scape, Yelena had gone through like, I think, three different like past that, like
Mhm.
what happened with her. And then the last one where she was looking into the mirror when she was leaning up against the bathtub drinking vodka.
Mhm.
Um, the transition from that scene into her being in the attic with Bob was really neat. It was a
Yeah.
really great scene to like see that like transition happen. And
Mhm.
then we never really got to see Bucky, Ghost,
Red
or
Guardian.
really any of them,
Yeah.
right? Or even Walker, like what they went through. But I I laughed because when Bucky was like, like,
Yeah.
Yelena was like, "Oh, you guys made it, like you guys got through your stuff, like you guys okay?" And Bucky was like, "Oh yeah, I've had a great life. Like I
Yeah.
have nothing to be worried about." Like meanwhile, we all know like what
Right.
he's been through.
He's probably got some of the most biggest demons out of all of them, which we've got
Yeah.
to see him kind of revisit a lot of them through Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I think that's why they didn't bother with his. And we've
Yeah.
we've we've heard stories of Red Guardian what he's been through. Ghost is the only one we really don't know. We've seen the least of her past, or
Mhm.
past. I'm sorry, but yeah, yeah. And then they pretty much go from there to the Malaysia lab where she was when she
Yeah.
blew up that deal. Yeah. Yep, there
Yeah.
yep, there it is.
And while they were in this lab is like when we saw Bob like confronting the void,
Mm,
and like how that all happened, and how they got out of it really was really touching. I mean, like, and that's why like it was like so
yeah,
emotionally rewarding to watch this movie. It was just because uh Yelena, like the void like used his powers and like chained them all up to like the wall or whatever, used debris to like get them
yeah,
onto the wall so they couldn't move. But like Yelena overcame that, and so did eventually everybody else. But what they did was Bob was going up to the void and just beating the shit out of his face,
which
like
is
just
what he
punching
wanted.
him.
It's what he
Yeah.
wanted.
And that's what Yelena was trying to tell him. So then she ran up to him and then just like hugged him. And it really reminded me of what we've been talking about with the Spider-Man movie, Across the Spider-Verse, right? I think is the second one.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Across,
Yeah.
yeah. So in that one, when Gwen hugged her dad, and you got to see like the colors
Yeah, yeah.
like merge and do the thing. Like,
That was a
so we
beautiful
didn't really
scene.
get to see the colors there, right?
Right,
But like you got to see her hug, and then everybody else just kind of like, kind of bear hug on top and be like, "We got you." And then they all like fall back because they got out.
right.
And
And
it
I
was
see
it
so
was
many.
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I hate how many people just love to hate on things, and I see some people out there, they're like, "Oh my god, this movie was good." And they're like, and then everybody gets saved from a hug. A hug is what saves New York this time. And I'm like, y'all are
Dude,
some
have you never been in a dark place where
yeah.
all you wanted was a hug? You know how many times that I go up to my like I'm not it is what it is, right? Like there
Yeah.
are like coworkers or even in like my other jobs where I've had coworkers just like come up to me and be like, "You look like you need a hug."
Yeah.
And and sometimes I do because man, you never know what's going on in someone else's personal life. You
Right.
don't you don't know like what's going on, and we try to be there for everybody, but you never know what they need. And if you just ask, if you're just a human being and you just
Mm.
ask, like,
Yeah.
you
No,
never
you're
know
right.
what you'll find out. You never know if that's the hug that they needed to get them past whatever they're dealing with, or just
Right.
get them out of their headspace. Because as an overthinker, as a woman, then that's just me, right? I'm not saying all women do this, but
Well,
as
I'm not a
a
woman, I
overthinker,
so
exactly. So, everybody has their own quirks, right? But
right.
I always overthink. So sometimes I'm just overthinking and I'm spiraling and I'm just going around and around and around. And if I don't have someone there to talk it out, I'm gonna get somewhere pretty dark. And like if I don't have that person that I know I can call no matter what, and I do have like my inner group and my circle that I know I can call at any point in time. Shoot.
Right.
And there's been times where I've just called you and I'm just like, I just
Yeah.
need to talk. Please
I'm
just
like, I'm
don't
in that inner
judge
circle.
me.
We're in each other's inner
And
circles we trust.
right. And it's great to have that. There's just like
Yeah.
there's a soulmate really for everybody.
Mm.
I feel like there's also that person that you can rely
Oh,
on,
yeah.
and a hug will
100%.
get you out of some
Well,
really pretty dark places.
yeah, and it's also scientific. I mean, it goes as far as being scientific. Like, if you hug someone and like truly hug them for longer than 30 seconds, it's proven to release endorphins in your brain that actually de stresses you. Like scientifically. Like it does something
Yeah.
in your body. It actually lowers your stress levels if you have a 30-second or longer hug. So
Yeah.
there's multiple things. It's mental, it's physical. Like there's so much stuff backing it, and it's just people love to hate. And you guys, those people who say that, it's like, all right, you really didn't get the movie. Like if you're going to say that, you're scratching the surface. You really didn't get the movie. You need to go back and watch this another time, or maybe your brain's just not capable of understanding. So,
No, I think
uh,
that like some people just need some extra time to understand things.
yeah,
Everybody's brain kind of comprehend thoughts, and maybe they haven't been there at
right,
a point in time in their life yet, or maybe they just don't have that inner group and that inner circle where they know that
true,
the hug is what they need. But like going back to the movie
yeah.
with like when Yelena like busted out of the forest scene and went into the Black Widow Academy, if you will. Um, did that like her falling kind of thing, did that remind you of Agatha? Because it 100% reminded me of Agatha in like the
Oh
tarot
shoot,
card reading room where
yeah.
like everything kind of like
Yeah, and the whole fall thing. Yeah, I didn't think about
mhm.
that. No, that didn't even click in
Okay.
my mind until just now. And like I literally seen that. I imagined it in my head as soon as you said that. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very similar. That
Okay.
was pretty
Cool. Cool.
cool.
I was just like, because I
Yeah.
was just like sitting there and I was just like, I feel like
Mhm.
this is interesting. I don't know. Like I feel like this could be connected somehow. How could this be connected?
Yeah,
Do you remember?
wasn't it Patty LaPone that the one that fell, or am I saying the right name?
It's
I hope I'm
the
saying the right name. I may not be. Let's see. Patty LuPone, yeah. She's the one
okay.
that was fallen that did that. Because I literally, since you said that, that's what I was picturing. I couldn't remember
Yeah,
that.
she was wearing the crown. She was Glinda.
Yeah. Mhm.
Glinda.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Things that live rent free in my brain.
Yep. And if you love
That.
Wicked, we have a complete standalone Wicked breakdown too.
Yes, because I like to talk about movies that I'm really obsessed with. But
Well, it's a phenomenal
um
movie. So.
yeah, and then so then like after they got out of this fear scape, the void
Mhm.
if you will, New York City goes back to being its normal color. Um and it's just like, oh, that's so cute. And then, Val tricks them to coming in and then
Oh, and
we
I did
get
not
her as in the
see
press
that coming.
conference.
I
No.
personally didn't see her tricking. I'm like, oh, they got her. She's about to be arrested, and she's probably going to the raft or something. Maybe not the raft, but she's
Yeah.
going somewhere.
Well,
And then
yeah. Yeah.
then when she like did the little swerve and dive, I'm like, oh hell no, oh hell no.
Yeah.
And
And then that's when we see the
yeah,
new name, what the asterisk
yeah,
actually means.
what they
And
are.
we get the new Avengers
Yeah,
with a
and what's
little
crazy,
asterisk before
it's like she's got a whole
the
press
name.
conference set up, microphone stand and everything to announce it. And as we all know, MCU's big about these press conference scenes. And when you see one, you know something big's about to get announced. It happens. Tony
Mm,
Stark, I am Iron Man. When him and Peter, is about to, go out or whatever. And like so, yeah, so many press conference. Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, there's so many. So I was like, oh wow, okay. Like, and we've talked about this back and forth before this movie came out. Like, are they going to be the Dark Avengers? Is that what the asterisk says and
yeah,
stuff? And here we are as the new Avengers. So,
just the
uh,
new Avengers, not even the Dark Avengers. So,
also one more thing before we jump into like the post credit stuff is, I wonder, and I wonder if we'll find out eventually. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But like, this isn't how it was in the comics. But I wonder if the Void has always been a part of him, because you hear him say that this started out with him, maybe not the strength part and powers,
yeah,
but he would black out and come to and not remember stuff. I think he said it started out when he
yeah,
was like 8 years old. So I wonder if
yeah,
like something about that void, because like in the comics, the void is an entity, from another realm that kind
yeah.
of latches onto him when he takes the serum. So I
Mm,
almost wonder if this version, in MCU, because they tweak things, if this wasn't some dark entity that's always been a part of him even way before the serum, and the serum
yeah.
just kind of amplified it.
Yeah, and that's what I want to say it is, because just like the soldier serum, the super soldier serum,
Mhm.
that's why they chose Captain America in the first Captain America,
Right.
right? Is they
Yeah.
chose him because this the soldier serum,
Mm.
uh like it amplifies anything that you have, including
Right.
the darkness, which is why they didn't want to choose the guy that was obviously buffer than
Mhm.
um Chris Evans, because like they knew that that
Well,
was who we wanted because
right.
he jumped on that grenade.
Because it makes good great and it makes bad worse. So, yeah.
Yeah.
As we get to
So
see why
even
John
though Bob,
Walker was how he was.
exactly. So even though we saw that Bob, had his greatness that he was able
Mhm.
to achieve, and he still had that like dorkiness that he had, but he had the dark side of him with that addiction and everything that he was
Right.
dealing with, that it got even more amplified, and ended up taking over who he was. But because of his
Mm.
support system, he got out of it. I just thought that was a really cool, beautiful thing.
I am
Oh,
slightly
and then
curious. Oh, go ahead.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
go, you first.
I was gonna say I am slightly curious though, like, so, he's supposed to have the powers of 1,000 exploding suns, and like Val and them was doing experiments, and this is how they came up with the serum. And this dude's like 1,000 times stronger than any super soldier. So Val and them just by messing around can create something like this. How much more stuff can they create? You know what I'm saying? It seemed like it was really easy to make something this powerful because to date,
I
this
don't
is
think it
probably
was
the most
easy
powerful
though.
thing, that
Yeah,
we have seen on screen. Well, I guess it's killed a lot of them, so it killed
exactly.
everybody
And
but
that's
him. Sure,
mhm,
that makes sense. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, I'm glad you
which
said that.
means that and then they talked about it in New Rockstars as well, where there had to have been animal testing because they had that guinea pig in that
Yeah.
lab, but the guinea pig was the only thing that was living there. So
Right.
does that guinea pig also have superpowers?
Or was he one left behind that hadn't been tested on yet? Or is that the guinea
I don't know.
pig that actually Chris Rock voices from Doctor Dolittle? Because he
Oh
looked
my
just like
god.
him. He looked just
The
like him.
throwback. Oh my god.
Yeah, him singing, "Do
Uh
the dance, making it love." You remember that? He's on top of the
yes,
minivan,
no,
strapped,
that
the
is
cage
like,
strapped.
as soon as you said it, I was like, I know exactly what he's talking about, and
It's the same
everything came
color
flooding back.
markup and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
We see
But
that
what
we
I
see the guinea
wanted,
pig in Doomsday, it's Chris Rock voicing him. Sorry, go ahead.
that just means that Eddie Murphy from Doctor Dolittle
I'm
is
okay with
also
that.
part of the MCU.
I am okay with that. Oh.
Uh, but anyway, something that else that I forgot to mention that I thought was like really neat and dope in this movie was uh, the part when like Red Guardian was watching like him, like the Soviet Russia doing their like parade and stuff, and you just
Yeah.
see him in the background next to the president just like waving. I was like, dude, I love the AI that they used for this, and then just like placed them in there. That was pretty neat.
Yeah. And nothing was better time in his life than his glory days, and and now he finally is having a new set of glory days after a couple of decades, maybe 3 decades actually. Yeah, 3 decades, I guess, because his glory days was actually before Yelena and wow, I'm gonna draw a blank. ScarJo's character's name,
Oh
Natasha.
shoot, Natasha.
Natasha.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, before his glory days was before we see them even as kids, because that was even post his glory days. So it's been a
Hmm.
minute. So it's been almost 4 decades. Like it's been 3 to 4 decades since his glory days.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. But then like after we get to see the fact that they're the new Avengers is when
mhm,
it cuts, and now we're
mhm.
kind of like seeing the credits start to get to played.
Right.
Um, and we see a couple of like news articles and photos. I have two of them, but it's not like two of the actual ones that were shown, because
hmm
it's super hard still to find them because it just came out on
Right.
Friday, right? But I have like the two that really lived in my mind that I remembered, and I was like, dude, that's dope. Is that they had one for Queen for Bohemian
Yes.
Rhapsody, that they became, that, and then they had Yelena as the we can do
Yes.
it. Strong girl
Yeah,
person.
that was great.
Um,
My favorite one was, David Harbour as Red Guardian handing the flower to the little girl, and, like, the
yeah.
old callback to the original black and white Frankenstein movie, and then also he voices Frankenstein and Creature Commandos in
Mhm.
DC, as of late, so I thought that was a
Yeah.
really cool, like, double whammy type thing.
Yeah. A little bit
He
of a nod, if you will.
Yeah, yeah, that was super, super great. And you see, like, also them sitting on the still beam, that black and white photo you see of people on still beam. They call them like the B
Yeah.
Vengers or something like that.
The
And
B Vengers, yeah, instead of
yeah,
Avengers, it's B
yeah.
Vengers.
And so I heard, well, I can't remember which, it may have been New Rockstars, but whoever, but that it was almost a strategic deal why they did that was
Mhm.
because it was almost like, oh, people's going to be like, us viewers are going to be like, oh, this is who the new Avengers is going to be. Like, this is nothing compared to the power stats of different people. So it was almost, hey, real quick, we're going to make fun of them in news clippings. So the viewers are almost sticking up for them, like, hey, like they're not that bad. Like that's not
Those
right.
are my
And so
people.
it was like a
Hey.
reverse psychology type thing on us as viewers, and I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
I think it worked. I think
Oh
it was
yeah.
really good. So
Mhm. Because I haven't really seen anything negative about this movie. Now, before we go
no,
into the end credit scenes, what is the one thing that you said you wanted to talk about that was negative?
yeah.
Because I have
So
one thing as
so
well, but it's in between the two credit scenes.
So I will say this. So like at early screeners and people who got to see it, they're coming out and talking about just how, man, this just really hits on mental health and it's just so good. It's so deep. And it just they go on and on and on. And in my head, I built up this really great, deep, metaphorical movie that handles this.
Oh.
And it does. But I
Mhm.
feel like my own complaint is I wish they would have went a little bit deeper into the mental health aspect because I feel like they scratched the surface, which is still fine. It worked. It had a good flow to it, and it was great that they were actually addressing it. But like, I would have loved to see it go a little bit deeper. And I say this as in, let's get a little bit more of the darkness of the scenes that Bob struggles with on his internal stuff. Let's get a little bit
Mm.
more than seeing Yelena sitting here, passed out drunk almost from drinking vodka. I wish they would have just on each of the characters, maybe spent 5 extra minutes, make the movie 20 minutes longer. That's it. And really would have made us connect even deeper with these characters. And it's just go deeper and longer. If you would have went deeper, 20 extra minutes, 5 minutes on each character, then we would have had a longer movie. I just wanted more. It was so good.
I
I just wanted more.
Well, so for me, what I would have liked from you saying that,
Uh-huh.
I would have just liked to see Ghost and Red Guardian with one
Yeah.
of their
Okay. Sure.
darker sides. I wouldn't have wanted them to go any more deeper into the darkness just because it is, yes, it's a part of the movie, but I
Right.
don't want them to overpower it with it, like, and especially the way that society is now, because then they would have been like, wow, all they wanted to do was talk about
Yeah.
mental health and
Yeah.
and
I
the
like
app
deep stuff.
and
That's just me personally.
yeah, that's fine. And mental
Yeah.
health is something that we should definitely be talking about, and it should be something that we all are talking about. Um, because there's so many different resources out there,
Yeah.
to really help anybody. And I do hope that everybody knows about those resources. But uh, if you don't, like, I hope that you do have that person there that will help
Right.
you get you where you need to be. But I would have liked to have seen at least one of the um dark moments for like Ghost
I
because we
definitely would
don't
have liked
really
to see
know.
Ghost.
Yeah.
Because she's been through
I
some
mean,
dark
like,
stuff as a kid from when we seen her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. We seen
yeah,
her dad died protecting her from that explosion that created
yeah,
her to be how she is, and so, like,
yeah.
she dealt with some dark stuff starting right there in that moment.
Mhm. And we know that Red Guardian from seeing Black Widow and him having to give up his kids to this program for the greater good of Russia, right?
Mhm.
Um, we know that like that probably fucked him up. I mean, like if
Oh, yeah.
you're a parent, like, and you're giving your kid, and he didn't do it like super willingly. You got to see it on his face was that he just like he was hurt by
Yeah.
it, but he still did it because that's what he was expected to do,
Right.
and that's what he thought at the time was the right thing to do. So, that's probably one of his dark moments. We don't really know what else he has, and then I mean we have seen a lot of Bucky's dark moments, so I was okay that we didn't necessarily get one for him, but I would have liked those other two.
No, I agree with you, and maybe that just would have made it a little bit more deeper too, just the movie and all, and
Hmm.
like it's just like it's me just being probably ridiculous because like when you see
No.
something you love, like you just want more of it and you want it to be
Yeah.
longer, and I feel like that kind of ties in for that. But like this movie was great.
Yeah.
I absolutely
No.
loved this movie.
I think also that would have played on the fact that everybody has their dark moments.
Yeah,
And that's really what I took away from this movie was that yes, everybody has their dark moments, but with the right community, you can
yeah,
like get out of it. And it's the same thing with I'm gonna get a little bit like, emotional here, right? Like say what you want to say about the world, right? Some people aren't happy with it. So
yeah,
if we all just get together as a community and make sure that people are okay in the actual real world, even if you don't really know who they are or what they stand for. Like, you're still a human being. You can still help out your neighbor, give them some, I don't know, a
yeah.
frozen pizza, some sugar, whatever they need. Like, because when you need something, you would want your neighbor to be there for you, you know? I don't
Right.
know.
Well, and what you just said made me think of I'm actually I saved it. So I seen that someone made this deal too, and it was a Fallout scene for Ella Purnell, and the guy that's in the machine. What's the machine thing? He's in that suit, the warrior suit.
Oh, yeah, oh my God, I hate myself right now, but I know exactly what you're talking about. The metal suit with the gears, the Tu-95, or it's not Tu-95. That is a Russian aircraft. Shoot. It's a it's a T-95 or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. See something,
Yeah, it is a T, and I remember, and that's why I wanted to say, and eventually actually said Tu-95.
but
Um,
but yeah, kind of like on like what you just kind of said. It kind of goes in par with someone like showed a picture of them two standing there and like kind of overlooking the city that's destroyed, and it's
yeah,
just like people get so caught up in the wrong thing or being just so standing so still where they're at and they actually lose sight of actually trying to better or try to help. And it just says everyone wants to save the world, they just dot dot dot. And it says they just disagree on how, and if people would actually just stop and think sometimes, I think there could be a lot more helping if we like focus on actually helping the world, instead of getting so caught up in the emotions and trying to prove points. To where I think people get so caught up into proving the points, you actually completely lose sight of the betterment you think you initially started out with.
yeah. T-60 power armor.
There you go. There you go. Not the Russian plane, but that.
Now Tu-95, it's a T-60. It's fine because
Yeah.
there's like okay, so there's not just one power armor. If you've ever
Uh,
played Fallout, there are a
I have
couple
not.
of other ones as well. But I know what I mean for the people that are listening,
Did
right?
you know that?
Um,
Now you
now you
know.
know. Speaking of our Bill Nye, but yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the first end credit scene, and then
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, I'm
Okay.
gonna do my little spiel about the second end credit scene before we talk about the end credit scene.
So, after years of wanting to be on the cover of the Wheaties box, Red Guardian's ultimate moment of glory happens, and we see him on the cover of a Wheaties box as the new Avengers. Another great epic win for this guy, and it's hilarious. He like sees this woman standing there. He's like, Wheaties. They're very good, whole grain, very great for kids. And then he like brings it up to his face, and she like takes it, and then like as she turns the aisle, puts it down and takes off. And he's like, "It's
Yes,
my face, it's me." And, like it's
it's
so
me.
freaking, it's so funny.
Yeah.
And they
Um,
cut.
yeah. I've seen that they I don't know if it's like actually out in the real world or whatever, but they have like
Mhm.
Wheaties and it says the new Avengers rather than Thunderbolts
Okay,
on it.
yeah,
Or actually, no, wait, that one actually did. Hold on. Yeah, it says the new Avengers on that one.
yeah, the one that was in the grocery store. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, the one that he's holding up. So, instead of saying Thunderbolts, because like when I went to go to my theater,
Uh-huh.
I saw they had a giant Wheaties box, and it said Thunderbolts on it, and on the side where it has your nutrition facts, it actually said like courage this percent,
Oh,
strength
really?
this percent. Yeah, so
That's
it
great.
like broke down stats for
Ah,
like character shit, and I thought that was amazing.
that is.
Um, but yeah, actually, I think I might have. I have photo. I have photo. All right, hold
Huh.
on. Give me 5 seconds
No,
as
no,
I
you're good.
open. I open these two photos real quick. All right, so this was the front of it. Um, and then, oh, go away. No, stop it. Sorry, I clicked it too fast so that like my computer was like freaking out.
And that's like one you just
Um,
stand beside, right? That's like taller than you.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was absolutely ginormous. Like if like right to the right of it, you can see like that like little line.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the floor, or is that a desk? I thought that was a desk. I think that's a desk. But looking at it from the side where you can see like the nutrition facts,
Mm-hmm.
this is it. And
Huh.
if you like actually like look at it, if
Yeah,
you zoom in and actually look at it, it tells you different like actual character stats, which I thought was absolutely amazing.
that's great.
Um, so before we talk about the next end credit scene,
Okay.
I like to read credits.
Okay. So
And
so
now,
it spoiled it then for you.
yes, it spoiled it for me before I even got to see it, and I was super upset. AD and I looked at each other, and we
Yeah.
knew we both had just read it. If you
Michael
guys didn't
Giacchino
know,
or Giacchino or
what?
you seen Michael Giacchino's name? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Oh, what are you talking about then?
No, I'm talking about that in the music section, they literally have Fantastic Four theme song.
Yeah, by Michael Giacchino.
Oh, well, I don't
Yeah.
know the name. I just
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
I
like
see.
the
I
he was
literally saw the Fantastic Four theme song, and I was like, okay, well, it has to
mm.
do with Fantastic
He's
Four.
a name like John Williams. Like he's like so like when they announced the Fantastic Four, whatever they did, like a bit. He did a big orchestra show of the music and different stuff, and then
Hmm.
like he's the one that's over this whole entire music deal for the Fantastic Four that they've been talking about on every new trailer that they have his music in, and so like I
Yeah,
knew that that's what. So we're talking about the same thing, but like I seen his name and it's talking about the Fantastic Four music, and so
yeah.
like yeah, yeah.
What I wish that they will do from now on is that if they have like a cameo
hmm
at the end, or if they have like something like that, if they
hmm
learn from this, that they just hold off, that right after it shows it, you have those last few end credits actually happen.
hmm
Because like I want to say that I'm not going to read anymore, but that also takes away from the people that did all the hard work, that
Right,
put all
right.
this hard work into this movie, and like not giving them their, kudos, if you will.
Right.
Um, but I was upset. I was like actually upset the fact that I ruined it for myself. I was like, I know I'm about to see it anyway, but how cool would it be that you're just sitting there and now you're just seeing all the Avengers, the
Yep.
new Avengers in this tower, and they have um, the Avengers A, but it has like a red background and it's like all updated for the new
Oh,
Avengers.
which
And
which by the way, this immediately says 14 months later. So this is them being over a year of being the Avengers. The world knows who they are. They are the
yeah,
government's Avengers for 14 months after the movie ended. So we know like they're
right.
well established now as the new Avengers too.
Yeah, and they're still getting backlash because
Yeah.
even in the end credit scene here, you have Yelena, saying to Bucky, like, dude, what if like Sam makes an Avengers team?
Well, yeah. Well, and we see that we hear that Sam has made one. So that's why the planet, I guess, maybe US planet is giving them so much backlash because there's 2 teams now.
Yeah, there's two Avengers teams, and then Sam did the smart thing and he copywrote the name. And now then you have, Red Guardian come out with the Avengers with a Z
Yeah.
at the end. You can't be copywritten if it's not the
Yeah.
same name,
He's like, "Sam
Avengers.
is stupid, man, but I am smart. I came up with the solution. Avengers."
And
And
then
then you
you
have all
like
the
the
sponsors.
product placement, yeah.
Which
Um,
callback to me made me think of and here's where I've not heard nobody say this. Like I've not even heard new rock stars, nobody else say this. That to
Mhm.
me was a callback to Fantastic Four 2, Rise of Silver Surfer, because Johnny Storm, Chris Evans, literally comes out. I think it's the first one or the second one. He comes out with the name, or it comes out with their blue suit, and then it's got sponsors all over it. He's like, guys, I got sponsors. He's like, check it out. They're like, that is tacky. And it's literally sponsors all over it. I think that's a callback to that because of what we see in the scene is
Oh
Fantastic
my
Four.
god.
Yeah.
I wish I had a photo to show for that. I didn't even think about that. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, and I've not heard nobody say this. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, Chris Evans as Human Torch does the same thing with a zip up deal with sponsors
Yeah.
on it and the Fantastic Four logo, and then they're getting ready to see the Fantastic Four, rocket. And so like, I'm like, how's nobody caught this? How's nobody caught this?
I haven't
So
I
if
can't
you
tell
didn't
you
know
the
that,
last
you heard
time I
it here
actually
first.
watched like Fantastic Four all the way through. But absolutely, that's amazing. That's another yet callback. Maybe maybe that's why we're gonna have Chris Evans in Doomsday. Because aren't we supposed to have Chris Evans? Or
That's
did we
rumored.
not get his name?
It's not confirmed.
Okay, I couldn't
That's
remember
just
if we got
rumored.
his name on a chair or
Yeah.
not. Um,
Um, but yeah. Oh, I was gonna say, oh, well, we hear Bucky say he had a talk with Sam about them being the real Avengers, and he's like, that talk went poorly. And I'm like,
yeah,
now I can't help but like, how would that go poorly? Because last time we seen Sam and Bucky together was in Brave New World, and Bucky was there supporting Sam, but now Sam's not about it. And so, like, what's the reason? Is it because of Sentry? He knows how powerful and mentally unstable he is and how big of a danger he could be. That's why he's not budging on that. And we know Sam has
yeah,
worked with mental health, and people and veterans and stuff. So maybe that's why he knows how volatile it could be, and it's not something super,
mm,
controlled that could be, always good. And
yeah.
that's the only thing I can come up with on that. Do you have any other reasons why you think Sam would like completely disagree with Bucky? And be like, no, we're the Avengers, not y'all.
I think maybe because he had the president himself ask him to make an Avengers team, and
Okay.
then Bucky was talking to him about making an Avengers team, and he
Mm-hmm.
kind of like shot it down. So then now Bucky came out with his, but then maybe Sam was like, "All right, well, you didn't ask me or the Falcon, the new
Yeah.
Falcon, right, to be
Yeah.
a part of your team. Well, fuck you. I'm gonna make my own team now." And maybe he's salty and he's butthurt because his
Yeah.
best friend, the Winter Soldier, didn't actually ask him to be part of his team, and he's just like, "Man, I can do so much better than them." And they had the
Or
knockoff Captain America.
that's what I was
I'm
about
the
to
real
say.
Captain America.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or is it just simply because he's Wyatt Russell, as John Walker? Is it because of him? And he's like, oh hell no. You got a couple
Yeah.
reasons, about two or three reasons there, right there. So I'm sure we'll find out. I'm sure they are not going to sit there and say that it went poorly and then not give us some little quick nod to it later on. I guarantee you, we're going to hear a little comment made about it, at least
Yeah,
a
but I don't
passing
think we're
comment.
gonna I think that it'll be like maybe in a TV series that we hear about it
Mm.
maybe.
I don't think
If
we'll even get a
anything. But if
scene or nothing about it. I think we'll just get like a passing joke that will be like, oh, that's why
oh,
he
like
was.
an interview?
No, 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 no. I think like say Avengers Doomsday's happen, and Kevin Feige's already said that all these teams, X Men, both Avenger teams, they're all teaming up to go against Doom. I think,
Fantastic Four, yeah.
yeah, yeah, Fantastic Four. I think we'll see a scene real quick where Bucky and Sam talk, and it's going to be
Mm,
like a two sentence thing, and it's going to be just two
okay.
sentences.
No, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. I thought you were trying to say that it was gonna be before that
Oh
Avengers
no.
Doomsday, but
Gotcha.
no, I absolutely do think that it would be an Avengers Doomsday. Like I don't think
Yeah.
like you said, I don't think that it would be in a TV show, but I was just trying to think of something that was before
Yeah.
Doomsday that would like gloss over like kind of what happened or at least like
Right.
make a nod to it. Like how we would hear about it. But yeah. Um
And also,
but
a little
yeah.
fun fact, the Russo brothers directed this post-credit scene. And so it's
Yeah.
just another reason why this scene is literally leading straight into Doomsday, is because the Russo brothers don't do things like that unless it's leading directly into their project, because they've actually done this
Mm,
before in the past on MCU films where they weren't over that movie, but they directed
okay.
that post-credit scene because it directly led into their film.
Oh, well,
So,
for me, not really, knowing that, like I was like, okay, well, we had a quick turnaround nod to uh, Red Hulk, right? Where
Right.
Valentine was, she was talking about the president turning into Red Hulk, and now we literally had seen the spaceship,
Right.
kind of roll over and show the four. So I'm like, okay, so maybe because we see the four and we know it's the Fantastic Four ship,
Right.
it's leading into Fantastic Four. Because if we
Mhm.
just had the quick turnaround of nods of cool that we just saw
Mhm.
Brave New World. Now we're talking about Brave New World, and literally the next movie, Brave New World, came out in February. This one came out in May.
Right.
Like,
So with Fantastic Four come out in July, I know you would think like that scene would lead up to that, but I think that scene that we seen at the post credit scene of
no, I think it's like
Thunderbolts
the end.
of Fantastic Four.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that
that's what I was
that
gonna
would be
say.
like the end.
Yeah.
Um, I was just saying that it's like a nod to like what's about to happen in Fantastic Four. Like where you like get ready because Fantastic Four is probably going to end in this way, or this is definitely like they're all going to be
Mhm.
together. So
Well, I think the reason Russo brothers did it was because like this is the end of the Thunderbolts. We get 14 months after they show that Fantastic Four because like we were saying, we both think it's that's happening after the Fantastic Four movie, and so
mhm.
Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts is both going straight into Russo brothers Avengers Doomsday, and I think
Okay.
that's why they were over it. I believe
Yeah,
because
no,
like
that
whatever
does make
happens
sense.
from that moment, them seeing it, and whatever happens with whoever gets out of that spaceship, so we don't necessarily know who exactly is in the spaceship, but
Could just be Herbie.
right. But the Russo brothers will be over all of these characters next time we see them on screen after
Yeah,
after Fantastic Four movie. And I'm so ready for
yeah.
that movie. Oh my god, I'm so ready for that movie.
Well, July keeps on getting closer and closer every
It
day.
is. It is. Also, real quick, I don't know why I said real quick, but Sam, we know has an Avengers team, right? Who do you think is on his team? Shang-Chi?
Well, I definitely think that I don't know so much Shang-Chi, but I definitely think obviously Falcon.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, maybe Ant-Man?
Yeah. I say Ant-Man for sure. Thor. I think
Okay.
Thor definitely. I think Shang-Chi because we've seen all right, so we know Doctor Strange and Clea took off into the dark dimension, right? That's the last time we see them. But we see Wong with Shang-Chi and Aquafina, Katie, I think's her name on there. I'll call her by her real name. But we see Wong, talking to them and dealing with Bruce and or not Ms. Marvel, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers in that last scene. So I think Wong, obviously would connect being part of, the Avengers and all of them, and he'll probably introduce Shang-Chi. And I think Shang-Chi's, I think, I'm calling it, I could be wrong, but I think Shang-Chi's going to be a part of the Sam's Avengers as well. Just because he's already working with Banner, Carol Danvers,
Mhm.
and Wong.
Hmm. I don't know.
But
I didn't
yeah,
really think about like I know that that new Rockstars like has their pick, but I haven't really thought like obviously I do think that Falcon is going to be part of his team.
right.
I want to say Ant-Man, but then after that, I'm like, okay, but if you're saying that Shang-Chi because of Wong, then I'm like thinking Ned, the
Well, I'm
man in the
saying,
chair
yeah. Well, I mean, I
from
don't think we'll
Spider-Man.
see. I don't know how much more we'll get of Ned till Spider-Man though, because I don't think we'll see Spider-Man till Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that's why I think
Well,
I'm
that's
not
the thing is
saying
that he doesn't have to be, Spider-Man doesn't have to be in it
right. It's
in
true.
order for you
Well,
to see Ned
and I
because he
wasn't
does the
saying
sling ring thing.
Shang-Chi just because of Wong, but because Bruce and Carol has been working with Shang-Chi too. Captain Marvel and the Hulk have been working with Shang-Chi as well.
I don't remember that.
So at the end of Shang-Chi, when they're talking about the bracelets and the signal they're sending off, you have Wong and Shang-Chi and Aquafina, Katie in the same room, and then you have Bruce Banner and Carol Danvers as a hologram talking to Shang-Chi, saying, "Strap in, you're in for a ride with us." Like
Okay. Yeah,
this,
it's just it's been a while since I've
yeah.
seen that, but I mean, like hmm, I
And then
don't
the other
know if
question, oh, go ahead.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know like if they would be on like his side because now I'm thinking of like when we had like Bucky with Captain America against like Iron Man and
Civil War.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I was just trying to think of like that lineup of who was on each side, and I can't even think of everybody that was on each side off the top of my head.
Yeah, so you had
Um,
Black Panther, Iron Man, Spider-Man that were together, Vision, and Rhodey. That was on one team. Then you had Cap, Bucky, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and there was one more. I'm drawing a blank.
Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man that was on that team. It was 5-on-5.
And that's why I'm like, okay, like I want to say that I think that Ant-Man is on Sam's side,
Yeah, I do too.
but if he's
Even
worked with Bucky before,
I think Ant-Man's still with them because I think remember they had the in Ant-Man, Sam and Ant-Man had their little scuffle, and it started off a little rough and they hated each other. But then last time I think we seen them cross paths, like everything was cool. Oh yeah, in game obviously, everything was cool, and he's like, we're not going to talk about that. So I think they're good now. So
okay,
after Endgame, from what we last seen them converse, but then also
yeah,
like Sam's Avengers because like Thunderbolt New Avengers have the original Avengers Tower. Where do you think the new Avengers base is for Sam's group?
maybe it's at the place that Tony Stark moved into, the mansion,
Okay.
like with
Hmm.
the
You
glass,
think you think
like
maybe like Pepper probably kept it and like let them keep it as the Avengers?
I don't know.
Yeah. So many questions. So many questions out there. And then also like my only other last thing is like after seeing that Fantastic Four rocket ship come in, and then we see the trailer for Fantastic Four, and it's like, man, did they save their planet? But then there's another reason they're coming to our universe for don't know what, or are they coming there because they couldn't save their planet and they left it and left all the whole world to die?
I think only July will tell.
I
Or
know.
maybe them leaving because they said they are the protectors of the world. Maybe they thought that Galactus would follow them with the Silver
Right.
Surfer.
Yeah, because there's theories out there too that like even though they protected the world, they stopped Galactus doing it. Galactus still wants their kid Franklin because you know what he's capable of, and so maybe they're trying to lead Galactus away from them, and Galactus is on chase, and they know the only way to get away from Galactus in this universe is to hop universes, and that's why they do it to save their kid and themselves, but also as well saves
Yeah,
the planet because Franklin's no longer there on the planet.
exactly. So
Yeah,
maybe it's a twofer, if you will.
I hope it's that. That's what that last one. That's what I hope it is. So.
Yeah, I hope that they're not like just like fuck that
Yeah,
world.
and oh, one
Peace
last
on
thing,
out.
it slipped me when we were talking about that last credit scene. It was really cool to hear that we already know the incursion's happening on 616 because she says we've already got the report that we're running out of space and outer space, and it cracked me up when where John Walker's like, "This building's huge, right?" She's like,
It's
"Outer space."
enormous.
Yeah,
Outer space.
so that's
Oh,
cool that like they know they don't may know all the details, but like we know
yeah.
that an incursion now is taking place where our universes are. So
Yeah, but that
that's
also means
exciting,
that all of the Marvels aren't like talking to the new Avengers because they don't know what's happening, which means also Nick Fury isn't talking to the new Avengers
right? Right. They're probably like talking with since they're out of the loop.
with
We
Sam's
know they're
team.
probably talking about
Yeah.
Sam's team. Yeah, yeah, and then also they should be putting a plan together to try to hop a universe to go save Monica Rambeau out of whatever X-Men universe we've seen her in last. So
Unless the X-Men are planning on coming over to that universe to start talking with them because they think that
mhm,
they have something, you never know because Professor X can see like all the mutants
right,
and what is a hero but a mutant, you know?
right. There's so many things that could happen. I'm so ready. July better hope get here. What sucks is like July happens, and before we see like
And
a
then you
big,
have to wait a whole year.
we have to wait a minute. Yeah,
Yeah, but we still have the TV shows
yeah,
to
we have
look
stuff
forward
in
to.
between, but dang, dang. But
It'll be okay. We'll be okay.
I think that's about. I could probably keep going on, but I think that's about all I got for this.
Yeah,
How
no,
about
but
you?
thank you everybody that came and watched this
Yes,
this review. That's all I got. It's a great movie. Please go see
it
it.
was.
And if we spoiled anything for you, I'm sorry.
It's your
Gave the
fault. It's your
disclaimer.
own fault.
No, I was
We gave the
but
warning. We gave the warning at the
we did.
beginning.
We gave the warning and we're gonna
Mm,
continue to give the warning. This is a spoiled review,
yep.
so
And
I'm sorry. But I
and
would love to know anybody's comments like in the comment
yeah.
section. Just
If you
did
disagree
you
with
catch
us,
something that
agree
we
with us.
didn't?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. And we'll be doing this once again for the Fantastic Four movie, the Superman movie, anything that we feel near and dear to our heart that really, we like.
Yeah.
We'll
I
be doing
think
these
big
standalones too.
DC and big Marvel movies will do it for. And then I guess for Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh yeah, if Star Wars starts putting movies back out, once they start doing that, we'll do it on those as well for sure.
Yeah.
But
But thank you again,
yeah,
everybody.
until next time.
Bye.